Ouachita One Table. Ouachita One Table podcast is a deeper discussion of issues facing our business communities. Over this series, we'll invite community leaders and businesses, the arts, nonprofits, culture, and government as we discuss the issues that strike at the heart of the Chamber's mission for the greater good of our parish. Topics such as workforce development, education, quality of life, economic development, and more. Ouachita One Table. This podcast is a partnership project of the Monroe and West Monroe, West Ouachita Chambers of Commerce and was produced by Godly Works Productions in the Louisiana Catalyst Podcast Studios at the Benoit Community Center. Now, here are your hosts, Roy Heatherly and Christopher Kelly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ouachita One Table. It's a collaborated effort between the West Monroe, West Ouachita Chamber of Commerce and the Monroe Chamber of Commerce. And I'm Roy Heatherly with the Monroe Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined by my great friend,
Chris Kelly with the West Monroe, West Ouachita Chamber. And we have the pleasure today of speaking with the Superintendent for Ouachita Parish Schools, Dr. Coker. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Chris and Roy. I think this is a great idea of bringing us together because that's, several years ago, about 8 years ago when I became superintendent, that river was always between the east side and the west side. And so hence the, in even bringing our school system together,
Right.
Sure.
we have building bridges to the future for our students. And so that all kind of played a part into what we are trying to do.
Roy, I think our tagline got one up.
I think so.
Sorry about that.
Dang it. So let's start with, we've been telling these stories about leaders, but you just shared with us, you are a product of the school system that you now lead.
I am. I actually went to Calhoun Elementary School, Calhoun Middle School, and Calhoun High School. And this was the old Calhoun. That's when it was a kindergarten through, we may not have had kindergarten. So it may have been a first through 12th grade facility at the time. And so I am a product of the Ouachita Parish School System. And let me say this, a proud product of the Ouachita Parish School System. Had some great teachers and coaches and administrators growing up. And so this job it's not just a job, it has been a passion.
Sure.
And so...
So you mentioned teachers. Who are a couple teachers that influenced you to get you to where you are today, that you kind of modeled things after, or they were your mentors?
Wow, I could go all the way back to the elementary and say Miss Heck in first grade, Miss Boyd in second grade, Miss Sutton in third grade, Miss Brown in fourth grade. I mean, just great.
My heart is happy that someone remembers them that well.
I could take you all the way through my high school, but had a coach. He has since passed. Johnny Rogers was a great role model for me and inspiration to me, and that's where I was going to come out and be the greatest basketball coach that Louisiana had ever seen. And I saw that God had different plans for me. And so after 10 years in the classroom, I came straight from the classroom into the principal position at Calhoun Middle School. And served
product
there.
of your own.
Wow.
I was. I actually started my career in Richland Parish.
Yeah.
Had 3 great principals over there. Was there 6 years. And then when my high school basketball coach retired, Dr. Johnson, the superintendent at the time, called me back and said, Don, would you be interested in coming to your alma mater and being the basketball coach for us?
That's so
I
cool.
said, yes.
Yes.
So
that's the story of that.
That's what we did. And I was there for actually help open West Ouachita High School. Yeah. And then 17 years, I became the principal and served as principal of Calhoun Middle School for 17 years. It takes a special person to work with middle school age kids.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
It
telling
takes
you.
a special person to be in education.
Yeah, I
That
think so.
too. That too. And we have a lot of great
and
ones.
we'll talk about COVID in just a minute because that impacted you all a lot on how you teach and all of that.
Right.
But I wanted, not only are you a product, but you have now your family, because I know you have grandchildren even in the system.
I do. I actually have a granddaughter that is starting her freshman year at West Ouachita. She came through the Calhoun. feeders, just as I did, and 3 grandsons at Sterlington Elementary. And so we cover the whole spectrum of the parish here.
So let's talk about as you reflect on COVID, but we have to address it because it is. As you reflect on COVID, what are the new outcomes? What's transitioned in education as a result?
Wow.
It's a vague way of saying go where you want to with the question.
We could go all the way back to about March the 13th of 2020, and that's when we got the first proclamation from the governor saying, we're going to close schools for the next 30 days.
What did you think when you read that? Thinking of that moment.
Oh my goodness, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So that was on a Friday. And so needless to say, my leadership team and I worked all Saturday, all Sunday, just to try to put together a plan, for our kids to be able to finish, thinking this was a 30-day hiatus where we would, and then we'd be bringing them back. And then the end of April, we get another 30 days, so you won't be back in school for the remainder of the school year. And so that just kind of gets you, geared. So what's the next steps? Right. And so we found out real fast that we were not ready to actually do any type of virtual type instructions or whatever. But y'all, over the past 2.5 years, 3 years, it is amazing what our teachers and what our students, what our kids have learned about, about being able to do virtual classes. Yeah. We have found out that it is not for everyone. Yes. Matter of fact, it's for the minority. Right. It is for that few that's going to be self-disciplined enough to be able to handle, the online classes and things like that. So we did a lot of scrambling that March of 2020. And then we had no idea the impact of what it was going to be on the 2020-2021 school year.
Right.
And so as we are trying to open school back up for that year, we're finding we have 6,000 kids that might want to be doing virtual for us. Yeah. And so we ended up around 5,000. It started coming down a little bit more. Remember, we have about 18,000 kids, 18.5 in our system. And so you're looking at a third or a fourth of your kids saying, we're gonna keep our children home and we're gonna instruct them through that. And so we started working really hard on virtual lessons. Sure. We started working on hybrid lessons where some may be done at home and some may be brought back to the school and things like that. But
then you have teachers who have been trained to go face to face, and now all of a sudden they're confronted not only virtual but a hybrid. So they're dealing with both. So how did they handle that? How did you work?
Our
with them?
teachers were phenomenal. We had some that they excelled in it. Because I went around, I was in the classroom. I was seeing them with 6 kids in face to face in the classroom, and then 10 kids online.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah,
and being able
keeping up to both audiences.
Oh my goodness, but it is very tiresome.
Yeah.
It is. It makes it made our people very wearisome in the fact that we're trying to put that information out there. We found out that we did not have we bought, oh my goodness, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hotspots so that kids would be able to come online. And we found that, they didn't always work. Right. And so there were a lot of challenges. Hence, we have some kids that missed some learning opportunities during the end of 2020, and then the 2020-2021 school year. And so these are some of our catch-up areas that we're trying to go back and to address and just say. And it would actually fall upon those kids who were in kindergarten and first grade that are now our 3rd and 4th graders. Yeah. Well, guess what scores were probably our lowest of all of our kids that we just got back? 3rd grade. Yeah. 3rd grade. And this was their first year to actually take any type of testing or whatever. So we are doing double duty on 3rd and 4th grade, especially in reading, especially in math. You miss some of the steps that you have to do on being able to learn math and math skills. You just can't. You can't miss those.
So, but y'all have been innovative too, like summer programs and Do you want to speak a little bit about this past summer?
Right. We had a little over 3,000 kids. It almost doubled from the first summer to this past summer
great.
that participated. It was a non-pressure type summer learning experience where we, every kid in kindergarten through 8th grade that wanted to come free of charge, didn't cost anything. We provided them breakfast and lunch. We also provided transportation for the most part, especially in our lower socioeconomic areas, to get them there. So they would come in and they would have math every day for the month of June and ELA or reading every day. So that's our means of trying to hit that core.
Right.
Then we didn't, and the great thing about the summer, no homework. There was no homework. They love that.
Yeah.
You know?
But
they
meanwhile, they're
also-
getting more engaged than they probably.
Right. They also love the STEM activities,
Sure.
the robotics,
Yeah.
some of the other things that we put out, the physical education
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
the art activities
Yeah.
that we did. So we made it a fun time for kids to be able to come in.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing benefit from that. I
Is
really
that?
do.
Do you anticipate continuing that this coming?
For the next 2 years?
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
actually have
Yeah.
money, and we're using the ESSER monies to be able to do this. And we actually had it budgeted for 3 years, but we felt that this was one of the greatest needs that we had, so we added on that 4th year to be able to do it. So we're halfway through the program right now.
Yeah.
So I went
amazing.
to your presentation at a luncheon that Chris hosted, and then you came back and presented with Dr. Vadrine and Ashley Ellis
Right.
at ours. Brag a little bit about your system. You had some great numbers that you could report, so brag a little bit about some of the great things you're doing.
Well, I think the greatest thing that we have in our system of our students, they're phenomenal. We are blessed. I can even go a step further on that. This past year, first time to my knowledge in the history of Ouachita Parish Schools, we had all three, a 5th grader, an 8th grader, and a 12th grader, win the Regional Student of the Year
That's so
and became qualifiers for the State Student of the Year.
fantastic.
The only school system represented in Baton Rouge, because I was down there, that had 3 of it. And that's
Congratulations.
just,
That's-
thank you.
that's
That's just, that's a sampling of what we have in our schools, I will tell you. We actually ended up with the elementary state student winner.
That's so.
And
cool.
so we were just thrilled with that. So not only great students, we have great employees. You think that our certified are the teachers, the principals, the ones that are out there with the kids every day. They make such a difference in the kids' life. And I think I mentioned it at the luncheon that we had that, the impact of that great teacher is the greatest thing that we can do for the students that have them.
Absolutely.
And so we're not just fortunate with great certified people. We've got great support people. You can't run a school without the buses running every morning and every afternoon, and the school food service ladies and gentlemen that are in there that are fixing these meals with limited supplies, I might add.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we're kind of looking at for this year. And also the fact that people who clean up, the receptionists, the paraprofessionals, I cannot speak highly enough about how our paraprofessionals have stepped up in times that are working directly with our students. And a good thing with our paras is that we are now, there's a program out there that a para can become a teacher. And so what better resource could you use than to have someone who knows how to work with children, who has been there working with children, to be able to get them on the pathway to get that degree and then finally get their certification. So it's working. We actually have hired, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 bookkeepers this summer who got their certification, who got their degree, and now they are actually working in the classroom.
That's cool.
And
That's
so, it's
Making
it's
a difference.
It really is.
Now, you have to deal a lot with facilities, and you're busting at the seams at some of your schools, and you have older buildings, and you and I have had multiple conversations, and Chris involved, with construction costs going up. So how are you dealing with all your schools and classrooms busting at the seams and everything?
And probably one of our biggest areas for that is the Sterlington area right now. Our
Right.
3 Sterlington schools, and with the East Side bond that we just passed, it was dedicated primarily to build
Right.
a new Sterlington middle school. And so we are in the process. They have slab poured, and we should be seeing some steel coming up for the middle school, which is located directly across from the high school, is where it's going to be.
Right.
And so those are areas. Construction is what they don't teach you in college as you're coming through.
Exactly, yeah.
And so that is an area that has certainly been one that is extremely time consuming. But the way that I look at it, I spend taxpayers' money like I do mine. And I'm pretty conservative. And my board members would tell you I'm very conservative. And so we want to certainly get the best product for the price that's out there. And so we are in the process of building that school. We have some major traffic problems, and that's one of our biggest challenges right now. I have them all over the parish. That means our parents are coming back into our schools, and they're doing the drop-off and all that. And so that normally gets better after we come back from Labor Day.
Yeah.
And so that is what I'm hoping and praying for, the fact that our parents kind of know what the schedule is, how they can get their kids there, drop them off, and then still be able to get to work. And we've made some concessions with our schools to maybe start a little bit earlier, but as soon as our kids get there, we have them a place that they will be going. So, but back to your original question on the construction, it is ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
There is always something that's going to be happening. Sterlington Elementary is busting at the seams right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at trying to add an additional 4 classrooms and trying to do something with our traffic situation, the flow that we have out there. On the west side, West Ouachita High School has really never had a front to the school.
Yeah.
We're building a front to the school. We're adding on about 8 or 10 more welding bays to the Ag
That's
Science program that we have there. So they're going to have 20 plus welding bays at one time. We have 3 Ag Science teachers out there right now. So we've been able to build these programs that our students are interested in going in. And so that is, to me, that's huge. We're doing everything we can to try to prepare our kids to be able to step into the workforce.
Yeah.
And let me say to both of you, what a great job y'all are doing with our businesses. And, we know that we depend on them. And I hope that they depend on us to be able to get them the products, that they need in order to be successful in their businesses.
Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. What an honor and compliment. So reflect, you 8 years as superintendent, right?
I'm in my 8th year.
Yeah.
Yes.
So reflect on that period of time a little bit. Wow. I can't imagine. I want a little insight.
During my tenure, we have had hurricanes that we have dealt with. We have had floods.
You just had all the natural disaster checkboxes.
We have had a school burned to the ground with a fire that was one of our oldest elementary schools, and I am so happy to say we just opened Bowley Elementary up this year again.
Great.
And so, the challenges have been out there.
Sure.
And that's not to mention the pandemic for the past 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
So these are things that you deal with. I do a whole lot of praying about, where do we need to go? What's the next step? And I will tell you, my leadership team that I have, not only at the central office, but the schools, that's how you determine your success, by surrounding yourself with great people.
Well, you have extraordinary people.
We do. We're very blessed with the leadership group that we have.
So you mentioned faith several times. What is that draw for you? How do you, in your times of intensity, is that what you rely on?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Well, and my message to my employees from day one, and this was even as back as far as I was a principal in a leadership role, was you have to have 3 priorities. Your first priority is your faith. If that's good, if that's right. Your second priority is your family. So this is how I want you to handle this within. And your third priority is the job, the work that you're doing. If you have your first two in good order, the third one is going to naturally fall into place to be able to be successful in what you're trying to do.
So this speaks to corporate culture. We keep having this corporate culture dialogue, and I think the success of Ouachita Parish Schools is directly a result of those leaders that you have having that vision and making sure that if family has a thing, that's a priority above. We're there for you. We have your
Exactly.
back. That's
exactly
that's
right.
so phenomenal. So thank you.
How many employees?
Yeah.
We have about 1,850, let me change that, close to 3,000 when you look at our support staff along with our certified staff.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
everything
it's a
from
lot.
bus drivers through janitors to
Yeah.
certified teachers.
That's right.
Ooh,
18,000, right now about 18,500 students, times 2 parents each, times four grandparents each.
That's
and
right.
You can see.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, thank you on behalf of the community.
Sure.
For investing your life to make us better and to educating our children.
More than welcome. It has been to me, it's been a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve the students and the families and the communities that we have in our Ouachita Parish school system.
So I have one last. Okay. In the very distant future, what would you love us to recognize as your legacy on the school system? It's a heavy question, but
it is. We've had quite a few changes. I think one of the best is being able to bring the majority of our people under one roof.
yes.
At our new central office that we have, where we can actually have professional development with 600 of our teachers at one time.
Unbelievable.
And but I don't want a building to be my legacy. I want
Yeah.
to be the difference that I've made in people's lives is to be any legacy that I have.
Well, that's checked off.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that's you
Clearly
have a
accomplished.
legacy graduate every year, and that's pretty cool.
And I did some figuring. After this year's graduation, I will have my signature on probably 10,000 plus high school graduates that have come through our system.
That's pretty
That's
cool legacy.
nifty.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you for your dedication to our schools. Thank you for bringing that sense of leadership and understanding of every level of the school system. I think it's so cool to have someone that is our own from the beginning.
Yeah.
So thank you for your impact. Thank you for always collaborating with the chambers and being open to the dialogue, and letting us understand the path, because it's quite complicated. Y'all are balancing funding requirements on all these other things, and parents and grandparents and everybody wants input into the process.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen some of your school board meetings. Some of those I was praying for you, but you've done great. And we
Well,
appreciate it.
and I can't speak highly enough on our board. They're dedicated people who want the best for the children in our district.
And I know we're getting close to time, but really, you talk about a diverse population of a school system.
We do.
You have one of the most diverse, and for that school board to work together, for you to be able to work together, I think that's really cool, because I mean, you're talking about a lot of differences, and to blend those together, that's awesome.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, that's great.
We are.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. We're blessed, and it's good leadership that we have. Not me, but those that are out there that are actually doing the work.
Well, thank you.
Well, this has been enlightening and motivating and uplifting. Thank you so much for joining us.
You are welcome. Thanks for the opportunity. And let me say again, thank y'all for what y'all do. It's invaluable for us in the Ouachita Parish school system to be able to work and to partner. And, we need to be able to let you know why we're doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And the same thing on with both.
Right.
But to me, that's how you build the community that we're trying to build.
Absolutely.
Building
Thank you.
bridges for the future.
That's it.
I'm going to
like
steal
that.
that tagline.
I like that.
This has been Ouachita One Table, a community partnership between the West Monroe West Ouachita Chamber. I'm Chris Kelly, joined as always with my friend
Roy Heatherly with the Monroe Chamber, and thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to Ouachita One Table with Christopher Kelly and Roy Heatherly. This podcast is a partnership project of the Monroe and West Monroe West Ouachita Chambers of Commerce and was produced by Godly Works Production in the Louisiana Catalyst Podcast Studios at the Benoit Community Center.